Mindfulness is realizing the nature of the mind and continuously bringing one's attention to the present moment, being conscious of the experiences, thoughts, and feelings of this moment. Meditation is the foundation for this presence and encourages a state of mind that is more open minded, curious, and accepting. Mindfulness meditation is now $1 billion business. Meditation can improve focus and reduce stress. It also reduces the risk of depression, relapse, and reliance on pain medication. I decided to do this project to see if mindfulness meditation increases creativity. Using fMRI scans, scientists have found that mindfulness meditation activates a central area of the brain in charge of higher order thinking. I decided to interview a Buddhist and an artist to see what their relation to mindfulness and creativity was. Do you think meditation or a mindfulness practice can promote creativity?
Of course, from the Buddhist perspective, meditation has a much deeper, meaning or process or purpose. Um, but I think that when we get in touch with more subtle, deeper levels of the mind through meditation, um, and we start dealing with kind of the blocks and the that we have, um, the biases the blocks, then I think people do experience a more free flowing sense of their mind. They can access their mind more easily. They can concentrate better, and I think that definitely, if they choose to direct that toward a creativity, I think that it would have a positive influence.
Do you think meditation has helped you to focus more or increase divergent thinking?
Can you define divergent thinking?
Um,
Thinking outside the box?
Thinking outside the box, yeah.
Uh, I think that it does help a person to be able to make connections, to be able to see connections between different things, um, and there's an element of even within analytical meditation, there's an element of creativity in the sense that people bring in their own experiences, their own, um, you know, when you're meditating on, death, for example, you bring in things that are relevant to your life and your experiences. Um, so I think that it, um, I think that I don't think that those two things are diametrically opposed in any way. I think that a concentrated state is a concentrated state, and being able to see connections is also a function of a concentrated state in a way. So I think that both of those things are enhanced by meditation, but it's not either or.
And the last question would be, are there any meditations to be more creative?
One would probably be visualization meditation. I think that tapping into the mind's ability to imagine um, is helpful. So just doing imaginative exercises could be different forms of different enlightened beings. Um, I think there are certain kinds of meditation where one actually visualizes oneself as an enlightened being to help break down the habitual ways of relating to oneself. That's quite an advanced practice, but I think that also has a freeing effect in how one regards oneself, and it broadens how one thinks about their mind. So I think sort of the visualization is an important thing. Also, taking the mind itself as the object of meditation. So, watching thoughts and feelings arise in the mind, and not identifying with them, I think breaks a person out of habitual patterns, which can be very limiting. Um, and breaking through those patterns, I think, also allows for creative energy to flow easier. So I would say taking the mind as the object, and then also a visualization. I think those will both be helpful.
Perfect. Thank you. Do you think meditation or a mindfulness practice can promote creativity?
Absolutely. It depends on the person, but part of creativity is being able to direct your mind where you want it to go rather than just where it will go willy-nilly. And mindfulness definitely helps with that. I meditate, and I think that it helps me. Not to say that you have to be a creative person or to be creative in general, but I think that it leads more into the long-term practice.
How often do you meditate?
3 times a week, I think, on average. It used to be more. Senior.
How do you get more into the creative zone?
That's a good question. Something else creative that helps me get me into the mood or inspire me about certain questions. Sometimes even reading interesting facts or articles can get me inspired. Again, I think it really depends on the person. For me, science is a huge inspiration. So I'll look up science articles and read about like the cool new metallic robot bees that can, pollinate.
Where is your art specifically? Which genre of art do you prefer?
Well, I want to get into video game design, but I think a lot of what I do is sort of falls into that whimsical, cartoony comic feel. Not like hardcore cartoons like Superman and comics like that. More like webtoon comics style. And I fall a lot for the whimsical and lighthearted, which I don't feel there's a lot of right now in the world. So that's where I like to focus.
Do you find being emotional helps your creativity, or do you use emotion to seed your creativity?
I hate to be wishy-washy, but it does depend. A really strong emotion, I think, can definitely help push you to get to that extra mile, that extra thing that makes it a good piece of art rather than just a piece of art. But I also think that living too much in the emotion can restrict your ability to actually see what's there, what needs to be there. So I think those two things, there's an interplay, there's a balance I think there needs to be. I think if you let yourself believe that gatekeepers are gatekeepers, then it restricts you. I think if you understand how to use them as a tool, then it can be really good for you as an artist. Limitations can help redefine, like if you were given a project with no direction, it will be a lot harder to come up with something creative and out of the box than if you're given at least some limitation, because then you have something to push against or break the mold of. So I think in that sense, gatekeepers could be a good thing because they give you a status quo to then bounce off of. But if you feel like you can't do that and you have to maintain the status quo, then I don't think it's good for you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
From the Buddhist perspective, meditation has a deeper meaning. They are not opposed, but seeing connections in a focused state is related, and meditation can help this. Watching thoughts and feelings arise in the mind breaks people out of habitual patterns. From the artist's perspective, practicing meditation over the long run will help creativity. Choosing topics that inspired her helped her create. And on Gatekeepers, the importance of limitation to bounce off of, or not, can be important as it can help encourage breaking the mold.